equity, I look at equity, accessibility, and inclusiveness, three very important aspects in today's scenario when I talk of quality education, because these three are the nagging areas that affect our quality in education. And I hope we understand the meaning of these three terms in entirety, because when I talk of inclusiveness, I not only mean the disadvantaged in terms of disabilities, but also I look at the socio-economic status. I also look at cultural diversities, because we come from a diverse population, and similarly, even if this project is not from India, there are cultural and ethnic diversities, and we need to look at this also when we talk of inclusiveness. When we look at inclusiveness, we also need to look at what is the accessible infrastructure available. So this aspect also needs to be taken into consideration. Do we have a ramp for the disadvantaged? Do you have a special seating arrangement? If it's a visible disadvantage, do we have some priorities for them? So each of these disadvantaged situations, one needs to look into the accessible infrastructural aspect. It could be lighting, it could be furniture, it could be even, so to say, a wheelchair or a sort of a ramp being constructed for the student. Like I just visited a school wherein they have this facility, even for the from the school bus, the child could come out very easily because there was a ramp, and then again a ramp to go upstairs to the school, and this helped a lot. When we talk of again inclusiveness, do we have this aspect of scholarship? Is there some form of scholarship? Is there some form of financial aids available? Okay, so one needs to look into this also if we are incorporating. If I'm preparing a simple tool, I need to include all these areas. Are financial aid in any other form available? Are free scholarships available of any kind that helps a child to manage himself, maneuver himself all through the program? Is there something like multilingual education? And I'm sure this is there even in, it is to be included in our NEP 2020, where a teacher should be knowing the mother tongue of that particular state. If she is in Maharashtra, she should be knowing Marathi, so as to be in a position to teach in Marathi. So when I just spoke to one of the NEP persons, he told me that the teacher has no other option but to learn that particular language, so that she can communicate either in English or in Marathi. Now, this may come as a compulsion. I'm not very sure about it, but this is what I was informed. So, similarly, when you go abroad, it's like, Hispanic, English, or sometimes even Chinese. So, these are the the languages offered. So, one has to look into the multilingual aspect too. A great thing today that's coming up is technological integration. How does one integrate curriculum into technology, the mix of the two? And to what extent is the teacher in a position to handle this? And is there a provision for this? And is there a provision also for the teacher to upgrade herself as and when the time comes, so that she is in a position to deliver the content accordingly? Will there be in-service training programs within the institution? I'm not talking outside. If it's a case study and talking about X institution, are there any training programs in the form of small workshops, small seminars, which are conducted within the school for the faculty, so as to improve and enhance on this very program, and also to improve accessibility, equity, and inclusivity? There may be a need to, not curriculum reforms as such, but your curriculum may have to be handled a little differently when you're talking about inclusiveness and accessibility together. You may have to have some curricular reforms. By curricular reforms, I'm not talking about the entire curriculum being changed. Probably the system of examination. Say the child does not have one arm. How are you going to try and make him appear for an examination? If the child is visually impaired, how are you going to? So the curriculum reforms is going to be totally need based. What type of, even I talked about scholarships. The scholarship could be merit based and need based. So can we make such provisions? I'm talking only, I'm talking from a very wide perspective because we talked of accessibility, inclusivity, and equity. So whatever I'm speaking relate to these three areas. Then we have to be accountable. Yes, when they are going to, when it's a project, any project is always accountable because we are going to get a feedback, and when we get a feedback, we are going to improve upon it. So we are accountable for whatever we are going to do. Uh, One is another one is gender equity, which I have not taken into consideration. I presume the school has both the sexes, the boys and girls. It is a boy-girl school. Then gender equity is one more area when we look at equity, because equity is a concept if we even look at gender. So boys and girls get the same treatment. When we look at accessibility, even approach to drinking water, approach to toilets and other facilities need to be looked into, even a small cafeteria for that small moment in time. So these three areas, actually, if you look into, there are a lot of sub areas that need to be considered. Now, how do we go about this if we have to make it action oriented? And it's an international project. It's a UN project. It's an international project. If that is the case, we have to be very objective while preparing the tool, which will cater to our context and our institution, betterment of our institution, and for the other side also. Ultimately, why are we doing this? For building quality in education. And we are looking at it from a very broad perspective and not from a narrow perspective. When we are talking about socio-economic status, no, it's a very tricky area. Okay, so one has to again be very careful while deciding how do you categorize or fill these categories in such a way that it is not very visible. By visibility, I mean the other party does not feel affected or demeaned. You may have to categorize, but for this, probably you may have to take your management's permission or probably the education department, because demography itself says in the field of education, they have their own strata. If your income is this much, you come under the higher economic strata, then the middle economic strata, and the lower economic strata. Because unless you know this, you cannot put them under the marginalized side or the disadvantaged side. Okay, so we need to have some form of criteria for just demarcating this. One has to be cautious here. Probably a school will have to be informed, and second, probably the Department of Education may have to be informed that you're doing such a study. That you definitely inform when you're doing a project, but this particular aspect will need attention because they may not appreciate. They have their own way of categorizing, or you can take their own category. One more thing can be looked into. If you look at municipal schools, they have something called as MLL, minimum level of learning. So this MLL can also be looked into, and that particular area of disadvantaged children could also be categorized. But that requires a little bit of research, because why are they? They could be from the higher economic strata, but would not be scoring well. So that part may have to be looked into. These are some areas that I would think about when I just presume, because I've understood entirely now, and whatever I'm speaking is just very immediate. I had thought about it from a very different angle, but I didn't know it was this kind of a project.
Oh, I'm
There
so.
can be tangible solutions. I don't object to, there can be a number of solutions for us also when we conduct such a project, because the basic idea is to integrate and then see that the transition takes place in a smooth manner when they join higher education. I presume that is the understanding that I got. So
Yes.
we want am I right,
Yes,
Snehal?
yes, madam. Because as we were discussing that there is in America, I saw that in higher education, few students go, and probably for the transition of students from the school to the higher education, that they want it to be smoother, and then students should feel it very comfortable to do that. So probably from that point of view, that these three areas, that is what they said about the inclusivity, then accessibility and equitability. So that from that point of view, that they have said that how we handle these students, so that they become interested for that transition. Maybe that is one of the thing that they want, that most of the students should go for higher education.
Okay. No, you know what? This is a little tricky at the moment in such a short notice. To think about tangible solutions. Nonetheless, with the little experience that I've had or the knowledge that I have, there could be bridge programs. These bridge programs turn out to be very useful, wherein you fill in the gaps and then you try to smoothen out the transition period. The bridge programs could be in the form of inputs, it could be content, it could be experiential. Another way I could think about is mentorship. A mentor is different from a coach. A coach gets a specific area for training a student or so. A mentor looks at an overall deficiency in the person and tries to pull up that person in a holistic fashion so that moves forward, he or she moves forward in a smooth way. So, mentorship is another area that could be thought about very seriously. So, you can have bridge programs, you can have mentorship, and in the US, etc., one sees a lot of summer programs. Okay, these summer programs or probably orientation programs that are need based could be another area wherein you can bridge this gap between school education and higher education. To some extent, career counseling, which is being practiced in the Indian context, career counseling is taken up very seriously these days. So that could be one more thing that could be thought about when we're talking about transition.
uh,
Very,
but
very often.
Yeah, but madam, I feel, like in the short period which has been given, 1 year period, I think your ideas are great regarding bridge program or the mentorship program. Where very well we can identify the tangibility, like solutions, outcome will be prominent. That's what I believe when we are talking about giving some result in 1 year duration of the period of this particular project. So, what do you think? That is one thing.
Probably, you know what, we could substitute with a small orientation program at intervals. At intervals, just assess and see where they're progressing. Wherever there are gaps, give some refresher programs or orientation programs for moving to the next step. I have another this also. Are we giving them accessible resources? The resources could be in the form of library, increasing the number of library centers, uh, documentations, probably technology. Many other areas could be thought about here when we look at resources. That could be another very important area for bridging the gap. Very often, when these lack, children think of dropping out because they cost. So, can they have some provision for such things? Uh,
So, so
Probably mental health services also in that short period. If you find that they are having some mental problems, some health issues, can that help in bridging the gap? Very often, when that is the case, what happens is they don't want to go for studies because of these health issues, and they feel that it's going to cost them more, or probably the treatment is going to take a longer time. Do we have a solution for that? Even in the short period, can we offer some sort of a simple solution? I'm just thinking, I'm not at all saying that these are final.
yeah,
Uh,
Iyer madam, shall we
uh,
little hear from the teachers and the principal regarding what they have identified during their course of this particular, teaching learning process, that what they have identified, because if we are targeting to the case study of the school, and definitely school will be getting benefited out of this particular project, So let us try to identify, as we were thinking that today some data also if we can get from the school, probably we will be able to specifically think about something, and then we can talk ahead of.
Yeah, yeah. What you said is excellent. Just one last point.
Yes, madam,
This
please.
came to my mind just now.
Yeah.
Having part-time or online programs, because online programs are cheaper, okay, or part-time programs, simple part-time programs, short duration, that can help them during this bridge period for the transition. Suppose they're lacking somewhere in some discipline, can it be helped through an online program or so? Okay, yeah, I wind up with this. I've given some, the basic idea of about inclusiveness,
Yeah.
accessibility, and here on this side, I've talked about some solutions we could think. Because you say it's action oriented, so these are some actions to be taken.
Yes.
That could be taken. I'm not saying to be taken, that could be thought about.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Thank you so
I
much.
hand over now.
Yeah.
Let me hand over. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to share.
Yes, madam. It's a lot of background which you have provided, a framework which you have provided. This will definitely help us to build on the ideas. Now let us hear from Uma, madam, regarding what is her experiences regarding the kind of gaps you have just suggested, and to identify the learner and provide them with some kind of a solution. Uma, madam, please go ahead.
Yeah, good evening, Sial. Staff members. Whatever Ambuja ma'am said, I think 100% we are following in Wadia school. Each and everything, that mentorship is there, about the ramp, the scholarship, the multilingual, all my teachers well versed in Marathi and the other language. We have 3 language formula. We have English because it is an English medium school, Marathi, the state language, and Hindi. So almost everybody, they can understand. Only thing is when NEP is actually implemented, how we are going to bridge the gap, I want to work on it. Curriculum reforms for handicapped children, visually impaired, we already have this inclusivity. I have students who are visually impaired. I have students who are handicapped. So we are already catering to their needs. But only thing is, now we need to bridge the gap between school education and higher education.
Yes.
This is where we have to work. So I think I've just understood now from this orientation what exactly we need to do. I'll take a meeting with my teachers today. I was a little busy, so Manish sir, my supervisor, took a meeting, but he could not brief me what all was discussed. So now since all my teachers have heard the two of you saying, so we'll work on it and I'll get back to you. And because why I want to wind up, because some teachers from secondary can stay back, but primary it's time for them to go home, and they travel in Virar trains, Vasai and all that.
Yes.
So primary teachers, those who are traveling by train, if you want to leave, I'll discuss the points with you on Monday. And secondary teachers, please stay back.
Aurora madam, I had actually, that is why I had shared some templates, and I was reading out from that template only the things, and when your teachers they contacted me, I repeated that the templates which has been shared, because even I saw it just day before, and then I had shared all that clippings with you, and in that only all these points are given. So if once we go through all those things carefully, we will get the the line of action, like how in what context we have to think, and to what extent we have to design this. All those things have been given very well, and basically I think little we have to also go through the SDG goal of number 4, and with that we will get little idea. Along with that, if we can like integrate it with our NEP 2020, which already country is following. So from that point of view, if we design this particular proposal, this will be very, very helpful. We don't want much of the things. Actually, I have got one Excel sheet which I just downloaded. That Excel sheet also I will share with you, because they have made it very easy to fill this proposal and make it, and it's only 200 words or 400 words. That's how they have given, and that's what I have shared all the templates. If the group of teacher whom you have identified, if they go through those templates easily, it will in in 1 day period we can do that, because we don't want to make it very detailed one. Detailed, after submission of our proposal we can make a detailed proposal, how to execute that. So that would be, then it will be a guideline for all of us.
Whatever you had posted to me, I have already put in the secondary and primary group.
Okay.
I think they didn't get enough time to go through it.
Yeah.
Now, since we have already attended this orientation program, I request teachers to go through it, and Monday will the Excel form that you have sent, we'll try to fill that and post it to you. And give me a week's time, because my supervisors are also not there.
No, week time
We
is
have to
not,
attend
madam, you have, that's what I said, we have to submit it on 10th. So just to,
Today is,
today it is
6th.
6th, yeah.
7,
Yeah.
8 I'll have a meeting with
Yeah.
my teachers.
Yeah.
So probably by 9.
For a detailed one, we can go ahead with 1 week period, but just a short one with 200 words, or I think one is 200 words, another one again. It's like they have just bifurcated it in different forms that we have to do, but then actual gist it has to be in 200 words. So just now we can have a framework sort of, and then complete guidelines we can make it in a week period.
Okay.
I believe that, madam, if see, I believe that even if we are not getting this approved by the Fulbright, some or the other ways, I will try to put this proposal again otherwise, and we will see that at least we are able to work out on this project, and some tangible outcome which can be replicated then by other schools also, so that it will be beneficial to every one of us. So if any other teacher wants to speak anything right now, or then we can take a little listen from Iyer madam and then conclude.
Any queries, teachers?
I think right now they are also just got the idea, so they will also try to have the insight about it, and then they may be able to give more inputs later. So now Iyer madam, little summarizing and even concluding this, so that teachers get better thought process or the seed to think about it more. That way you just give little idea to all of us, so that we can work on it. Yeah, Iyer madam.
Uma madam has said that most of the things are being implemented in her institution. So that gives us a very good plus point. If we can prepare a tool, okay, a tool, more a perceptive tool, since it's going to be action oriented, we just cannot say the school already has it. Okay, so let us prepare a tool keeping certain areas of inclusivity, all the 3 areas that I mentioned: accessibility, inclusivity, and the
Equitable.
third one,
Equitable.
yeah, equity. And keeping that, we'll prepare a simple tool for the primary level and the secondary level. Now, who will be answering this tool? It will be very biased if the teachers and principal themselves answer. So we may have to seek the community. So parents will be one stakeholder for this. Some other stakeholders we may have to look forward to. Okay,
Students and
besides-
education department.
Probably education department. Now, students, yes, ex-students will be better because biases will be less. We'll have to limit prejudices, because everything if the school is going to answer, that will look one-sided. So, drafting the tool, giving it to stakeholders, and when we get their opinions, your past alumni or even parents, ex-parents whose children were there in the school earlier, getting a view from them will be really helpful for filling this data. So action-oriented, one side of action-oriented, and when we're looking at the transition part, how we are doing it, everything, the tool will detail all that. As madam said, there is a ramp already provided. Then for visual handicap, there are some other, all that we'll put as options, and then tick marks will be put against it. Transition part, we'll have to look into, where I talked about the tangible solutions. Bridge courses. If the school, madam, does your school have +2? You all don't have a +2.
No, because we are in the campus and Bhavan's college.
Oh, that Bhavan's college, yeah.
Yeah. We have
So
only
this
up to
yeah,
10th
so
standard.
only up to 10th standard, but then your results must be fantastic. So again, the bridge part is going to be a little bit of problem, but we can definitely mention about the bridge program. There's no harm in mentioning. Those are tangible solutions. They should be measurable. Remember that one. Tangible is always measurable. If they're not measurable outcomes, then they don't make any sense. So again, they need to be weighted. So how are we going to find that out? That is one part. Okay. Are we going to get that from the point of view? Is it going to be descriptive, measurable in terms of numbers? We'll have to just see that. Can we quantify it, or is it going to be qualitative? Okay, measuring that will have to be seen. Now, when we're talking about bridge programs, we do not know the scenario there. So we will have to see a scenario, think of a scenario. But bridge programs is something which is very helpful. Okay, I'll tell you this is there in the US, especially when you go for a PG course. You enroll your child for a PG course. They have these bridge courses.
They call it as pathway course.
You call it pathway, they call it as bridge course, and then if you do that, you get you earn credits also, and at the same time, you don't have to take some more papers. Okay, so it helps you in some way when you go to higher education. But we Indians are hardworking, and we really want to achieve our goals, so we go through all the processes very smoothly. As you said, we'll have to take the monetary side of it also, which we have not considered at all. Their higher education is very expensive. So when we look at, that's why at the last point when I talked about online course, there are a number of online courses that are totally free today. Totally free. You don't have to pay a copper pie. So if we can introduce such courses, I hope you have heard Udemy. Udemy is there. Then another is Coursera is there. All these are totally free. Now, Infosys yesterday or day before yesterday has announced courses, but they are more related to technology, on data science, on some other subjects they have introduced. They are totally free courses. These are free courses again. For those children who have passed 10th and want to go into engineering to get extra information, so they get the basics of that particular course, so they understand the course and there's a smooth transition. So Coursera is there, Udemy is there. They are not Indian based, but Narayan Murthy has started this. Infosys has started this course now. It has just been released 2 days back. So we can look at such type of courses also, and we can look at Udemy, etc., Coursera, etc., and talk about bridge courses from there, which will help them move into higher education. That's what I was talking about when I talked about online or part-time programs. There your county colleges. These county colleges also offer very cheap courses, especially in the US, where affordability will not be questionable.
That is community colleges.
Community colleges. A number of community colleges are there. And they're all short-term programs. So they are more like this process. And so, where the child goes there and sometimes they come out and they get a diploma or a certificate and then get themselves employed. The only thing is, they won't be in high employments. So look, somewhere they get a job.
Yeah. It's like what we are doing here as a modular. They are doing that kind of a pathway course. Like if they complete that, then they are getting entry into the college.
Exactly. Modular course is not becoming popular here still. Though at the graduation level, they are making big attempts.
Yeah.
But modular course is one thing which you can think about and note. One of the tangible solutions.
Yeah. Even like language, what we were thinking, like language also many a times is a barrier sort of. So for language, what kind of a barrier, a bridge course if we are doing? Like I don't know whether the bridge course if they are doing with the language.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah. Because these
normally, you are opting for some subject, like how we have second and third subjects, they opt for Hispanic, Spanish or Chinese. Okay, so they have those options. They've got French, they've got options like how we have options here.
Yeah.
So I don't think language may be a barrier. The main barrier for them, they are demotivated because of high costs. Probably employability, even after gaining those degrees, employability.
I think if Madam Little, if you can also help, it's like we can have another meeting after Monday when the teachers also look at it. Then Iyer Madam, you can also help us in this matter. Like another kind of even for us, it would be good that if we look at NEP 2020's implementation, like we are talking about bridge courses and other things, so how much the objectives of NEP 2020 is being implemented in the school, and how much it is able to achieve the goal like objectives. So from that point of view, any of the area, maybe in that also some bridge courses are there or vocational courses are there, that sort of something.
Nehal madam, any course for evaluation, at least 1 year completion is required. So NEP should complete 1 year of its execution. Then and then we can look at its evaluative study.
I think this
Now we
Wadia
can
school
also-
has done. Uma Madam, am I right?
No, have they completed 1 whole year?
No.
No.
But by the time we will complete this project, we will know. Because if they have started this year, and in November we are going to start with this particular project, and we are going to complete it in 2025. So I think by this year end, that means 2024, they will be ending 1 year.
Now, what aspects of NEP have been considered? Some schools have taken up vocational very seriously. Some open door policy, some open door examination at the primary level, some schools have taken up. Vocational and including coding from standard 5 or standard 6 has been taken up seriously in some other schools. So each school, they have not taken up because Maharashtra government has not come out very specifically. I do not know. Aurora madam may be having a lot of knowledge on this. Whatever I am talking about is a brief report from the principals. Whatever principals say, this is the feedback that I get.
So let us hear
So
from Uma
how
Madam.
is it
Yeah.
Actually, NEP, the Maharashtra government has given you all the NEP outline? No. That is what Basanti Roy told me. They have not come out with the outline at all.
So
So they
what?
are
So
still
what
thinking-
exactly? So let us hear from her when she says that in her school it is implemented. So what aspect, and whether we will be able to get any idea up to the end of this year about.
नहीं idea आपको बहुत सारे मिलेंगे. You will get a lot of ideas.
No,
People will
let
be
us
there to come and talk.
Iyer Madam, I'm just trying to understand from Uma Madam that what aspect she has implemented, as she says that NEP has been implemented. So let us hear from her the what kind of aspect and whether 1 year in that we will be able to get some result. Yeah, Uma Madam, please.
Yeah. Now, these three words, inclusivity. So, here in my school, all the children from different stratas of the society are studying. One part of it, that is economic background, we don't check. As long as the child is interested, he is in my school. RTE students are in my school, 25% of the students who don't pay fees. Then after 8th standard, if they are supposed to pay the fees, but if they are interested and not able to pay, we try to get somebody to sponsor their education. Girls, boys, mine is a co-ed school, so their gender bias is also not there. Though number of girls is less in each and every class, each and every division. Then accessibility is also there, like we have separate toilets for girls, boys, there is a ramp kept for them, those who are handicapped. Every aspect of that is taken care in my school.
So
Multilingual, though we already have because it's a state board school, 3-language formula, plus we introduce Sanskrit. 8th, 9th and 10th, again they have an option, they can go in for the 4th language as well, and workshops conducted at regular intervals.
no, so Madam Iyer, I just wanted to throw light like what when we say about NEP 2020 being implemented, how is it different from the previous kind of education to this NEP 2020 which they are expecting to be implemented in the schools?
बहुत है. See, the concept of cluster schools is coming up. Technology integration is one area, okay, where probably Wadia school may be having the resources, okay. But there are schools, neighboring schools that don't have. In that case, sharing technology. That is going to be enforced upon. So the concept of cluster schools, the concept of technology sharing, the concept of resource sharing of any kind, it could be books. Okay, then intranet facilities. Intranet, not internet, intranet means the schools that are in that particular ward or community, they get connected. And then they share on a common forum or platform the ideas and views, etc. They're trying, and then vocational skills basically is going to take a big leap. Madam, आपके स्कूल में vocational skills, do you all have any separate room?
No, space constraint is there, and we are working on it. Only thing is, all the Saturdays that we work. For example, today, last 14 years, we have this Saturday activity, which is now included in NEP, wherein from class 1 to class 10, all the students, outside faculty is invited. They come, and there are sessions where they are taught different arts.
Okay.
It may be origami, it may be painting, like fingerprint, too many things. Like the whole year's plan is there with us. We take them to for
That's
field
very
trips,
good.
we take them for film shows, we take them to visit different parts of the community. Community people come and they are the faculty there on Saturdays. It is a no bag day. It is a happiness day for them.
Oh.
So
So
all
here,
this,
sorry, I'm given to understand this vocational skills. When I spoke with this NEP person, I was fortunate enough to attend one session. So when I asked a question, they told me vocational skills would mean, some form of productivity, some form of maneuvering or channelizing the child's interests into a specific field. It could be carpentry, it could be masonry, it could be anything, whatever the school can. So this is going to be an essential part.
Yeah.
All that is a part, but this vocational would take care of a vocation for the child, which they will start instigating or initiating from standard 6 itself. So every school should have a room exclusively for that. This is what this information was given to me.
yeah, correct. Even we had discussed in the first PTA meeting with the parents, because parents are a part of our this Parents Teachers Association. Parents, teachers, we were brainstorming what all can be implemented because of the space constraint. Mainly in my school, the number of rooms I have, each and every room is occupied. So there's a building coming up in the Bhavans College. So
Okay.
maybe end of the year we may get some rooms there. And same carpentry. We even thought of beautician.
Very good.
That is the in
Beautician,
thing
yes.
nowadays. Yeah, tailoring,
Fashion designing.
fashion designing is like it goes to the higher this, but then tailoring, and then if they are interested, can go to the higher level.
Okay.
And these few things we had discussed, and then pottery. Nowadays, people are making career out of that also. Different objects made, sculpting. So only thing is, right now I'm not in a position to start with it because of the space constraint. And proposal is already sent to the management, and I'm waiting for the positive result and outcome that will help my children. And 6th onward, then I need at least 4 rooms because I have 200 children in each class, and 4 options to be given. They can choose what they like, hands-on experience given, and then they decide whether they want to go ahead with it or not.
So,
I was also told that in Maharashtra, especially in a city like Mumbai, where space is again a constraint, as you have mentioned, many things will be filtered. There may not be all. You cannot do everything what NEP expects. So Maharashtra government has to decide what all can be expected from schools in Mumbai, and that is where our hitch is. In other states, it seems they have started implementing, but Maharashtra, because of this issue, it has not started.
So, anyways, madam, now we will conclude. If you have to say some few specific areas that the school can focus on while they are thinking about this particular proposal, just last minute, if you can wind up with some few points which you can
Madam,
tell.
I'm looking at certain words. See, I don't have any of your templates with me.
Okay.
You had just an
Yeah.
oral discussion with me for
Yeah.
2-3 minutes. Whatever
Yeah.
I've gathered just
Okay.
now
Okay.
on the spot.
Okay.
And I've
So,
spoken offhand.
yeah. So I
So
will
I need
share.
some time.
Yeah.
I think when you talk of action oriented, that term action is something very, very important. They want to see the execution in process. So it just cannot be one which is just documented and given to them.
Yeah.
Okay. So we will have to look at just a bit. I'll have to read through whatever it is. You send the proposal. What you have said just now, the forms are there with you. Everything is there with you. And Madam School, I think, will be an ideal school. You can take it up and fill the forms. After that, you know what? You just send the template, whatever information you have regarding this.
Sure.
Even
Sure.
your
Yeah.
IEE objectives also.
Yeah.
So
I will do.
see, you had millennium goals at that particular time. We were following millennium goals, but now
Right.
it has changed. Now it's IEE, this UN का project है. तो वो जरा goals पता चलेगा ना? What are the objectives and goals?
Yeah.
So the tool, whatever is prepared, can move in that direction without knowing the
Yeah.
objectives. Now preparing
Yeah.
a tool. First thing will be preparing a tool. So
Right.
first set of data they will get.
Yeah.
Then
Sure.
before we start and after we finish, that could be again action oriented. Before we start, where we were and now where we are after
Yes.
1 year.
Yes.
Just 2 months before that, we will just prepare a post tool, and the post tool and the pre tool will compare. So, to what extent could we really make it more action oriented? Say, counseling we introduced, or something else we introduced which helped the students. So, we will have to catch live students who are transitioning.
Yes. So thank you so much, madam, and thank you so much everyone here. Uma madam, I'm very indebted that in a very short notice that so many of them have joined. It shows the interest and the seriousness of the school. Today we got little idea. I hope in 2 days time that the template which will be shared by Uma madam with all of you, that will also give some idea, so that by Monday something we will be able to come up with, and we can at least put the proposal, and definitely will take a guidance from Iyer madam also time to time, so that final touch, while we are submitting, final touch will take it from Iyer madam. And today madam, I'll share with you all the templates which I have shared with Arora madam, that gives all the ideas, that in the guidelines as well as the objectives and the confinement in which we have to work on this particular proposal. So I think good work we can do with the help of
Yeah. You
this
go
particular
ahead with the proposal, submit the
Yeah.
proposal.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Then we can, analyze the terminologies that are there in this one in your objectives.
Yeah.
So the depth, but before preparing the tool, we need to understand what exactly are the expectations.
Sure. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, everyone. And all the best, because we are going in a journey of something new, exploring something like where it will help us to introspect and even do some better work in the field of education. And this kind of exercises always help us to grow as a better teacher. I believe that in today's session also you could understand and you could get a lot of things from what Ambuja Iyer madam has spoken, and definitely it will help us to improve in whatever the work today we are doing. Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
ma'am.
thank you,
Thank you,
Snail ma'am. Thank you, Aurora ma'am. Nice knowing you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.